Victoria had been excited about Las Vegas for months. "I booked us a suite at the Venetian," she announced one morning, her fingers tapping on her laptop as she swiveled the screen toward me. Her hazel eyes gleamed with anticipation. "We deserve this. An adventure, you know?" I wasn't against the idea. We'd been married for 7 years, and though things weren't perfect, I thought we were solid. A getaway seemed like a good chance to reconnect, maybe rekindle some of the old magic. When we arrived, Vegas was everything I expected. Dazzling lights, boundless energy, and a sense that anything was possible. But by our second night, Victoria's excitement took an unusual turn. We were dining at a rooftop restaurant with a stunning view of the Strip. Sipping her martini, her cheeks flushed with exhilaration, she dropped a bombshell. "So, there's something I've heard about," she began, swirling her drink with the tiny cocktail straw. "A party. A swingers party." I almost choked on my steak. "A what?" "You know, a swingers party," she repeated, this time more casually. "Couples go to explore boundaries and try new experiences. It's supposed to bring them closer, strengthen their relationship." "Strengthen? By swapping partners?" I struggled to keep my voice calm, but my pulse was racing. "It's not like that," she said, leaning in as her voice softened, almost imploring. "It's not a big deal, really. People just experiment. It's only one night." "Absolutely not," I replied, setting my fork down with deliberate force. "Why are you so uptight about this?" she asked, irritation seeping into her tone. "We've been in a rut, don't you think? Don't you think we need to shake things up?" Shaking my head, I tried to stay composed. "Victoria, if you believe going to some depraved party will fix our marriage, then maybe our problems are bigger than I realized." She folded her arms and stared at me for a long moment. "It's not depraved. It's liberating. You're being so judgmental." "And you're being reckless," I shot back. "Listen, Victoria, if you think this is the solution, I'm telling you now, it's not happening." The argument spilled into our hotel room later that night. She accused me of being controlling, and I accused her of disrespecting our marriage. It was ugly. When I woke up the next morning, Victoria was gone. Her purse was missing, as were the black heels she only wore when she wanted to feel confident. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I stared at my phone, my mind racing with grim possibilities. Hours passed before she finally texted, "I'm out. I'll be back later." Later turned into an eternity. When she finally returned in the late afternoon, her demeanor was distant and distracted. When I asked where she'd been, her answers were vague. Then she said it. "I'm going to the party tonight." I stared at her in shock. "You're joking." She shook her head. "I've made up my mind, Michael. I think it's something I need to do for me." "Victoria, if you go to that party, we're done," I said, my voice cold and steady. "Don't be so dramatic," she replied, rolling her eyes. "It's just one night." "No, Victoria, it's not just one night. It's a choice. And you've already made it." Throwing her hands up, she sighed. "Why do you always turn everything into a massive ultimatum? Can't you trust me for once in your life? Trust you?" My voice rose in disbelief. "You're walking out to a party where the entire point is to sleep with other people, and you want me to trust you?" "It's not about that," she snapped, her frustration palpable. "It's about having an experience, trying something new. Couples do this all the time. It's healthy." "Healthy?" I laughed bitterly. "How does trampling on our vows make our marriage healthier?" "You're impossible to talk to," she said, folding her arms. "I'm trying to bring something new into our relationship, and all you do is shut me down." "That's because what you're asking is insane," I shouted. "You're not trying to fix anything. You're looking for an excuse to destroy everything." "That's not true," she said, her voice softening. I need this, Michael. I don't know how else to explain it." "You need this?" "Well, I need a wife who doesn't think this is acceptable. I can't believe we're even discussing this. It's not who I am, and it's not who we are." Sighing deeply, she sat on the edge of the bed. "I've already decided, Michael. I'm going. I don't want to argue anymore." I stopped pacing and stared at her. "You've decided? Just like that?" "Yes, I have, and I'm not changing my mind." As she got ready for the party, I sat at the desk, staring at my phone. Her reflection in the mirror was a picture of excitement as she hummed softly, curling her hair and applying lipstick. Meanwhile, I booked the first flight home, set to leave in a few hours. I planned to be gone before she returned from the party. After securing my ticket, I canceled her return flight. How she got back wasn't my concern anymore. Then, without hesitation, I transferred every dollar from our joint account into my personal one. After everything that had happened, I wasn't about to leave her with access to our shared funds. As the evening wore on, She finished getting ready in a sparkling dress and heels that elongated her legs. Turning to face me, she caught me staring. "What?" she asked, tilting her head. I shook mine. "Nothing." Adjusting her earrings, she gave a faint smile. "You're sure you don't want to come? This could be good for us." Scoffing, I replied, "Good for us? Do you even hear yourself? You're walking out tonight knowing exactly what it means." "It doesn't have to mean anything," she retorted, crossing her arms. "You're the one making it into this huge deal." Stepping closer, my voice rose. "You think it's no big deal to throw away your marriage for something so selfish and disrespectful? I told you, Victoria. If you go, I'm done." She leaned against the dresser and sighed. "You're so rigid, Michael. Everything is black and white with you. I wish you could just let go for once." Grabbing her purse, she walked to the door and turned back. "I'll be back late. Don't wait up." I didn't respond. She left without another word, the door clicking shut behind her. As soon as she was gone, I grabbed my suitcase and packed hastily, shoving my things inside without care. My chest ached, but I buried the feeling. There was no time for second-guessing. When I zipped my bag and looked around the room one last time, it didn't feel like I was leaving a hotel suite. It felt like I was walking away from everything we once had. The last 7 years of my life were now behind me, or at least, that's how it felt. By the time Victoria was probably arriving at her party, I was already in a cab headed to the airport, ready to catch the first flight home and begin a new chapter without her. I landed in the dead of night, around 2 a.m., exhausted but determined. Once home, I dropped my bag in the corner of the bedroom, collapsed onto the bed, and stared at the ceiling. Sleep didn't come easily, but eventually, the stillness of the house pulled me into a restless slumber. The next morning, my phone buzzed non-stop. Groggy, I reached for it and saw her name lighting up the screen. Call after call, her desperation seemed to leap through the device. I sighed, letting it vibrate a few more times before finally answering, unable to tolerate the noise any longer. "Michael, where are you?" she demanded, her voice frantic. "Why are your things gone?" "I'm home," I replied flatly. "I told you. If you went to that party, I was done. But you didn't listen." "What do you mean you're home?" she snapped. "You just left me here, without saying anything?" "I didn't need to," I said coldly. "You made it clear you wanted to sleep with other men, Victoria. Fine, do whatever you want. But I'm not staying in a marriage where I'm treated like that." "You're overreacting," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with a mix of panic and anger. "It was just one night. I don't understand why you're being so heartless." "Heartless?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You think I'm being cruel? You're the one who walked out that door, fully aware it would destroy everything between us, and I'm the one being cruel?" She paused, her breath hitching. "Michael, I didn't think you'd actually leave. I thought you'd calm down, that we could talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about," I said firmly. "You went to that party, and that was the end for me. Oh, and I canceled your return flight. You'll need to figure out your way back on your own." "You what?" she yelled. "You can't do that. What am I supposed to do now?" "That's your problem, not mine," I replied, refusing to let guilt sway me. "I don't want you to come back here, Victoria. This is over. Tomorrow I'm filing for divorce, and I don't want to see you again." "You're divorcing me?" she cried, her voice breaking. "Michael, please don't do this. We can work through this." "I made a mistake." "No," I interrupted, cutting her off. "You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. And now I'm making mine. I'm done. I'll send your things to your mom's house. Don't bother coming back." The line went silent except for her uneven breathing. I couldn't tell if she was crying or trying to find words to argue, but I didn't care. "I have nothing more to say to you," I added after a long pause. "Goodbye, Victoria." I ended the call before she could respond, tossed my phone onto the couch, and leaned back. Exhaling deeply, I felt the weight of everything hit me. My heart was heavy, but mixed with the sadness was a strange sense of relief. I had done the hard thing, walked away from something toxic. I wasn't going to look back. The days that followed blurred together in a whirlwind of paperwork and legal meetings. Her emails and texts came constantly, pleading for me to reconsider. But I didn't waver. My decision was final. I called her mother to explain what had happened and let her know I'd be sending Victoria's belongings to her house. She was stunned, her voice shaking. "Are you sure about this, Michael?" she asked, disbelief evident. I recounted the argument, the party, and my choice to leave. "It's done," I said, keeping my tone steady. "I'm not going to change my mind. I'll send her things soon." After a long silence, she sighed. I just can't believe it. You two always seemed so happy together. Well, we weren't, I admitted, the weight of my words hitting harder than I anticipated. I need to focus on what's best for me now. After that call, I met with my lawyer to start the divorce process. Her lawyer suggested mediation, but I refused. There was nothing left to discuss. She had made her decision, and now I was making mine. The court dates came and went, each one bringing me closer to closing that chapter for good. Eventually, the divorce was finalized. Victoria and I hadn't spoken directly since, and I wasn't sure I ever wanted to again. Adjusting to life post-divorce felt strange at first. The silence was unsettling, but also peaceful. I began focusing on myself, picking up hobbies I had long neglected. While I occasionally thought of Victoria, I realized I had no desire to return to that life. One day, I received an email from her. It was an apology. She said she regretted everything, but it was far too late. I deleted it without replying. The past was behind me, and I was finally moving forward. In time, I found someone new. A relationship built on mutual respect and trust, things I hadn't experienced in far too long. I didn't miss my old life. The divorce had been painful, but it was the right choice. For the first time in years, I felt free. Thank you for watching.